It's another math day with you here with teacher Jenny. And in this video, we are going to tackle factoring difference of two square binomials. Now, when you say factoring difference of two square binomials, your operation there is, of course, that will be subtraction. Okay, now once you see two terms and the operation between those two terms is minus, or we've got subtraction in there, and checking up whether your terms are perfect square. When you say perfect square, it means that you can find their numbers, similar numbers in which you are multiplying those similar numbers, you will be coming up with the answer, just like your 1. So when you say 1 in there, that is a product of your 1 and 1. And then you've got another one is your 4, which is a product of 2 and 2, and so on. So those are perfect square binomials. Now, when you talk about variables, you can really determine if that is a perfect square if that will be divisible, or the exponent there is divisible by 2. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Now, moving on to the first example here, we have x squared minus 4. Now, notice we've got two terms there, the x squared and the 4, and in between them, the operation is a minus. So this is now a good example of your perfect square binomial. Perfect square because you've got there x squared that has an exponent which is divisible by 2, and your 4 is a perfect square because you can come up with a 2 and 2 that would result to 4. So how do we factor perfect square binomials or difference of perfect square binomials? Now, factoring that one, we are going to simply have this right away. This will come in pattern that you will have to take the roots of your first term and second term. So we have that one as x squared. If x squared, root of x squared is x. So we will be writing that one in your factors. And then taking out the root of 4, that is simply 2. There you go. And now we are off to writing your operation in there. Of course, you can have there a plus and a minus, or vice versa. You can have there a minus and a plus. It really doesn't matter. They are the same because multiplication is commutative in nature. And there you go with your factors of your difference of two square binomial, or two perfect square binomial. Next, we go to that one. Now again, this is minus, and we have here a squared, which is a perfect square, and 25, which is also a perfect square. So since that is the case, we can now move to writing your factors. Factors are the root of your two terms. We have a squared, square root of that is a, and then 25, square root of that is 5. And then we have a plus and a minus. There you go with your factor. Next, we move on to this one. Now, notice you've got their leading coefficient, which is not equal to 1. When I say leading coefficient, those are coefficients in which attached to your variable that contains the highest exponent. So since that is not equal to 1, but checking up on it, this is still a perfect square. Your 4 is a perfect square, so we won't have a problem with it. Now, factoring that out is simply getting the root of all the terms. For x squared, root of that one is simply 2x. And then your 1, taking the root out of it is simply 1. And then you will be adding and subtracting. Next example, kindly do that one on your own there by pausing the video and then resuming that one once you have your answer so that you can check it. Okay. Now, looking at it, your 16y squared is a perfect square, and 100 also is a perfect square, and operation in between is a minus. So we can factor this out by simply taking out the root of the two terms. 16y squared, the root of that one is 4y. And 100, the root of that is simply 10. So adding, subtracting, there you go with your factors. Next, we go to this example. Factoring that out is simply taking out the root of the two terms. You have 64y squared, root of that one is 8y. 49y 4 to the power 4. The root of that one is simply 7y squared. Notice you are only dividing your exponent by 2 when you are taking the root. That is always the case for your variable or your exponential form in there. So if your number is expressed in terms of an exponential form, so you might as well do that one by simply dividing the exponent by 2. So that is already the root. Okay, moving on. So we have 7y squared. This will be plus and minus. So that's it. That's the end of our video for today. I hope you were able to learn something from me. And again, math is really easy. It's a matter of understanding the concept and putting it to practice. It's a repetition of process, by the way, so it's not really that hard as you imagine it. Only it's a matter of mind conditioning. And again, this is your teacher Jenny signing off.